My First Street North. It's a campaign to bring awareness to First Street North in Little Tokyo that is currently the city is interested in developing, which is an area between Temple and East First Street, and then between Alameda and Judge Iso Street.
My FSN, or My First Street North, I think is a campaign designed to engage Little Tokyo neighbors, visitors, and allies to think about the historic block of First Street North, but to think about Little Tokyo in terms of more than just a place I consume, but a place where I give. The community has developed this hashtag, MyFSN. There have been programming throughout the year.
We provided support to 3 organizations that are on First Street North: Visual Communications, East-West Players, and the Japanese American National Museum. And then we asked each organization to, in some way, engage with their constituents and link what it was they were doing and their goals to what's happening with First Street North.
It's not that working with artists and having artists as part of our community is anything new, but given kind of this moment in time, connecting more deeply and partnering more deeply with artists to explore community development opportunities, we just felt like it was a really great moment in time.
The Japanese American National Museum did the art installation Moving Day. Moving Day refers to the day that Japanese Americans were forced to be evacuated from this downtown area, which became a military exclusion zone after the signing of Executive Order 9066. We were doing an exhibition called Instructions to All Persons. One of the things that we wanted to do was activate the exterior of this space. If you are familiar with the Japanese American National Museum, the street that goes between the 2 buildings is Central Avenue. And during World War II, that was actually one of the sites where Japanese Americans lined up in the thousands. And so what we did was we created a replication of a guard tower that we put into the central hall of the museum. And from that tower, we projected the exclusion orders that were issued onto the historic building on the day of release. What's happening today is something for the Little Tokyo community to be concerned about, and that is sort of this loss of identity.
Because of your dream for a better life in America, only to testify to a government who denied you property.
It's important because we have a president who is trying to ban Muslims and stop immigrants from coming to this country and incite fear in this nation, very similarly to how we saw it in the 1940s.
It's really great, and especially important to me because I lived it. One reason why we need to have programs like this is because I never want to see what happened to us happen again.
Residence Elsewhere was a play regarding internment and the connection between Japanese American internment during World War II and the political climate, which in 2017 was shocking.
The Friends Meeting House, the sun shining, birds are singing. All of a sudden, Howie comes racing down the stairs. Go! Japan has bombed Pearl Harbor.
Residence Elsewhere was 3 vignettes, and it was meant to tour to local schools and also to be performed during the Instructions to All Person exhibit at the museum. For East-West Players, this was special because we were collaborating with JANM and also with First Street North, and we were given the opportunity to actually have the play performed on our stage.
They're trying to provoke you. Hey, stay calm, answer their questions, don't embellish, they got nothing. I promise you we're gonna be on that flight tonight.
Usually the tour goes to schools. This was different because they came to Little Tokyo. And this church held the belongings of Americans who were imprisoned during World War II.
2 suitcases apiece. So we haul it all to the front yard. Icebox, stove, washing machine, table, sofa, rocking chair, Mom's Edison phonograph for black walnut piano, Dad brings photos, Japanese letters, family mementos, anything suggesting any ties to Japan.
I think their learning was really, it was visceral and it was more emotional because they were actually in the space, In Los Angeles, which held so much history and so much emotion during a time of political upheaval and anxiety.
My grandmother used to live here. Actually, I think she had a little restaurant. After the war, when she came back here, she had lost all her belongings. And then when she passed away, we kept still coming back to Little Tokyo.
So in 2017, our First Street North activation was a partnership with Foreign Policy Function. We focused on Bronzeville, Little Tokyo, which is a multimedia exhibition that premiered during the Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival. While the Japanese Americans were in concentration camps, we had a community of African Americans from the South moving in and creating and performing cultural modes such as jazz. So Bronzeville, Little Tokyo focused on a little bit of our jazz history here through projection mapping, VR, and live audio and music. The project itself, what we really wanted to say is Los Angeles has histories within neighborhoods. And sometimes in the current day, we always think of a particular neighborhood as being so monolithic regarding ethnic and racial groups in Los Angeles. But through Bronzeville, Little Tokyo, and we wanted to show that we also have histories of other people in these spaces.
I realized we are not in a post-Bronzeville era. Actually, Bronzeville, the soul of Bronzeville, is still here in Little Tokyo.
Definitely adds a lot more depth and perception to it, because I first came to Little Tokyo when I first came to LA, but just as like a tourist. But knowing more about the history of it helps a lot. Like, I never knew about the African American displacement, and I would hope that would mean that more communities kind of like integrated and like developed a bond, because there can be a lot of separation sometimes between African American communities and Asian American communities.
I feel like what the MyFSN activities and the activations on First Street North have done are these moments of like, it isn't some intellectual thing. Little Tokyo is about heart. Little Tokyo is about place. And these artistic opportunities help us connect facts to feelings and people.
Individually, I think each organization is very strong and has great programs, but together it's like a web. It creates this greater force to implement change and ensure the things that happen in Little Tokyo are done through a process and through mutual agreement.
Little Tokyo can't be gentrified. I mean, it's really, I feel so strongly that if we forget this history, especially during this time, I think the hope and the agency that this community provides will really be lost.
There has always been a phrase in Little Tokyo, like, welcome to Little Tokyo, take off your shoes. And we're looking for the fertile imagination and the fertile willingness of artists, of business owners, of residents, of seniors, of kids, of families who care about this place. And so the question is, what does Little Tokyo mean to you, and how do you want to help make sure it is here for the future?